Невидимий ворог атакує.
An invisible enemy is attacking. Why do we experience ongoing health deterioration of the Ukrainian nation? What is behind the positive statements of officers about the environmental conditions? What's the truth about the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the safety of vegetables and fruits in our garden? And is it not available to dwellers? Nowadays, no one in Ukraine is aware of the quality of environmental conditions. Moreover, no one is able to know about it, due to the fact that the government and agencies are indifferent and dread to have official objective information about the quality of environmental conditions. Why? Just because the most part of Ukrainian polluters are owned by incumbents or persons in the power. During the independence years, the Ukrainian population is declined by almost 6 million, from 52 to 46 million. Of the number of sick, quintupled. Today, 9 Ukrainian persons of every 10 consider themselves to be ill. Population's lifespan has reduced by 3 years. In addition, death of the Ukrainians of working age is doubled to 4 times Western Europe. Nobody holds proprietors of polluters accountable for the significant harm to the environment, health, and sometimes even lives of the Ukrainians. According to ecologists' estimates, enterprises' emissions of harmful substances into atmosphere are almost 10 times more than those stated in official reports. Technical and staff basis for the environmental quality monitoring is practically lacking in the country. Nevertheless, the government creates obstacles for the independent public control. The emission and waste disposal charges comprise approximately 1 billion hryvnia in our country. Though in accordance with the estimates, these charges should be no less than 14.5 million hryvnia. 36 million tons of waste are accumulated in Ukraine. Out of them, 780 tons fall at one person. 2.5 million tons of priority toxic agents are air stored. 120 million tons of atomic waste are stored in gullies, Dnipro-Dzerzhinsk and Zhovty Vody. As a result, their annual discharge in air is nearly 300,000 curie of radionuclides. That is 1.5 as much as the fallout beyond 30-kilometer zone of the Chernobyl catastrophe. 100,000 tons of radioactive polluted metal scrap is brought out of the Chernobyl zone, landfill sites of atomic waste and uranium production enterprises. It is stored in private yards, working areas, and then refined in metallurgical plants. Houses and roads are built out of radioactively contaminated slag. This is slowly spreading all over the country. 16,000 tons of detonable propellant melange are in critical state and require immediate utilization. 50,000 tons of pesticides and toxic chemicals are kept in unequipped storage. 30,000 tons of electrolytes with heavy metals are annually poured into land. There are 300,000 polluters in the country. Nevertheless, only 30,000, 10%, have been registered. How are waste utilized? The Ukraine practically does not have any capacity for recycling and liquidation of hazardous substances. As a consequence, they are utilized only on paper. An ordinary scheme is as follows. An ecological inspector, an entity having a license of the Ministry of Health, comes to an enterprise, detects hazardous waste, and confronts the enterprise with alternatives, whether it pays fivefold fine or conclude an agreement with them, and then he will draw up an inspection statement. In that case, it is not the ecological inspector's concern whether wastes are transferred to the utilization or not. At the best case, a specialized enterprise will carry out waste to its own territory. At the worst, it will put them out to accidental disposal sites, rivers, and gullies. At the beginning, all of us started coughing. We had tickles in the throat and running eyes. The smell of spilled vinegar was so strong, and then my son had seen a cloud. Certainly, it was awful. At first, outskirts dwellers became suspicious that there was a nitrogen discharge at the local enterprise, but this was not confirmed. People were lost in conjectures. Our neighbors' trees, cucumbers, grape, leaves burned out. My poultry was harmed. Chickens just fell down. They became as if they were not alive, paralyzed, so to say. Only next evening an ambulance service came and units of the Ministry of Emergency Situation informed that they had doused the fire at the sulfur warehouse not far away from the residential area. People and livestock were examined by specialists. It is strangely enough, but they had not found anything unusual. I killed the poultry and we had eaten it without any test, nothing more, but the liver was blue-green. I killed the chicken yesterday, and now you can see the liver is anomalous. In such a way, the people heard about their dangerous neighbor, the enterprise billers, for the first time. This is the way the area of a unique Ukrainian enterprise looks like. The enterprise has a license for the collection, storing, and utilization of almost all hazardous waste, including oil products, sulfur slags, accumulators, and electrolytes. Detrimental compounds are likely to be disposed in two storages, applying to German equipment. Any manufacturer can say that in case there is not a pipe or input and extract ventilation in a suitable premise, there cannot be any manufacturer at all, especially when hazardous wastes are involved in production process. Management gives an outright denial to let in journalists. However, one can see it through the fence that dust from the dangerous storage is flying around and above. You do not use a hanger. That's the wind. Well, let me report. Nothing comes with the wind. Nothing. We have the containment here. We reprocess only in indoor areas. What are coming out are raw materials. We brought slags for sulfur concrete. Does it mean that there are no repugnant substances there? Absolutely. Highly hazardous toxic waste is kept there. This fact is confirmed by test. Lead levels excess comprises over 27,000 times, cadmium 388 times, zinc 416 times, nickel 58 times. These wastes are dangerous not only because they are stored there, but also for the people living somewhere around them. Even when it does not rain, there is constant weathering dust. Lead and cadmium dust will settle in soil, foodstuff, and water. Lead is an extremely toxic substance, primarily for the central nervous system. Ecologists assume that the electrolyte was just poured off into industrial gullies. Per approximate computation, there are more than 10,000 tons of hazardous waste in the storage. Had there been anything illegal, I would have been eaten. There are so many inspections, I would have been eaten. More than 10 ecological organizations appealed to Dnipropetrovsk authorities and the regional prosecutor with concrete facts of environmental contamination, including those by the enterprise billers. However, they are still waiting for the reply. Nobody even managed to deal with the statement. Why? Non-committal replies are the most common practice in our country, but in this case, even a regular non-committal reply was lacking. There was nothing more than the profound silence. Apparently, controlling and governmental agencies have nothing to object in this respect.